Woo! Yes! Am I on? Am I on? Can you all hear me? You have any more questions? That's it. You know, this is the only event in my life that I've come to. Everybody got up and left before they were introducing me. It must have been that Rev 3 you guys were drinking, right? I came in, they gave me a can of that. Woo, I'm ready. I'll tell you, after you... I don't know, this is going to be a short talk, I'm telling you right now. Let's take off. I got to tell you a story. It's going to be a great story. I'm going to share a lot of things with you, and I know they're going to penetrate. They're going to help you not only in this business, but I know they're going to help you in your life. Here we go. Some of you might have been around. It was October 6, 1973. A real quiet day in Israel. Yeah, not too many things going on. Matter of fact, it was the holiest of their days in Israel. It's called Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur is a day of atonement. Quiet, peaceful, until about 2 o'clock. At 2 o'clock in the afternoon in Israel, here came the Egyptian Air Force, and they came in and they bombed 3 of the Israeli airports, took them out. In a short period of time, there was 361 soldiers on the Egyptian front. They looked up and saw 80,000 troops coming in to invade Israel. Over on the Syria side, there was 143 tanks coming that Israel had. They looked up and saw 1,800 tanks coming at them. In a very short period of time, are you ready? The little army of Israel, which was 275,000 troops, looked up and saw 800,000 troops coming down on them. 2,800 tanks, 2,000 armored personnel carriers, 2,000 heavy anti-aircraft equipment, 400 jets. It was incredible. As a matter of fact, when you take a look and you see Israel and you look up and you see Syria coming, Egypt coming, Iraq, Iran coming, it looked like it was all over. But then a miracle occurred. The miracle turned back around. In 19 days, not only did Israel defeat those armies, they pushed them back across the border. And as a matter of fact, Israel got behind Egypt and was 45 miles from Cairo. They pushed the Syrian army back across the border, and they were within 20 miles from Damascus. Outnumbered almost 3-1. Now, I could do a whole talk on just that episode alone. Because when you look at focus and how people carried out those events, it was incredible. But it was a real miracle. It was a miracle that even war colleges today are still looking at and they're studying today, trying to figure out how in the world could that be. If the United Nations had not thrown a white flag, Egypt and Syria might have been the property, the land would be owned by Israel today. I mean, it was an incredible time. Now, I'd just been out of the service that period of time. I was in Navy intelligence, kind of an oxymoron, but I was in Navy intelligence. I'd been out about 4 or 5 years. I knew a few things that were going on there. And one thing that had happened, the United States came in and assisted Israel during this period of time. They gave them a lot of intel, a lot of equipment, and it was a real kind of an inside war going on that people was not aware of, because what was happening, Russia was supplying all the Arab states, and the United States was supplying Israel, and there were some things happening on the top that got pretty critical. Now you say, Bob, that's interesting, that's great history, but Bob, I'm out here trying to get people in my doggone business. What's this war got to do with it? Well, go with me here a little bit. I'd been out of the service about 4 years, and Kay and I, my beautiful wife back there, my beautiful little blonde, we were doing pretty good. You know, I was a little stud. I was 31 years of age. Just got out of the Navy. I was rocking. I had a computing company, a construction business, and a leasing company. Things were doing pretty well. Had some babies, and we lived in a country club. Now, we were in debt up to here, but we looked good and smelled good. And then all of a sudden, because of this war, something strange happened. The Arab nations decided to do this to the United States. They said, we're going to put a tariff on all oil coming into the United States. Any oil that does come into the United States, you're going to be charged 200%. Now here I am, this was about 1973, and I was trying to hang on. By 1975, I couldn't hang on any longer. We lost our home. Well, my wife says we didn't lose it, it's still there. We just didn't have it anymore. We lost our home, we lost our credit, we lost our cars. We went down to zero. There was a time when, back then I wasn't real smart, so I mortgaged everything, including our furniture. So what does a person do when they get to the end of their knot? Some of you this weekend probably have come in and you're getting pretty close to the end of your knot, right? In other words, you're sitting here going, well, I don't know, man. I hope this thing's going to work, because I know I've sat where you've sat. Will you do the most reasonable, logical thing that you can do when everything is gone? You get in Amway. Now, don't applaud on that one. What happened 4 weeks before I got in Amway, I became a Christian. Now, I like to say this because this is kind of funny. Some of you are considering and talking about rejection. Dude, you don't know what rejection is until you're in Amway and a Christian at the same time. I mean, I'd go talk to somebody about Amway, they'd say you're nuts. I'd go tell somebody about Jesus, they'd say you're nuts. I thought I was double nuts there for I don't know how long. All I was trying to do is just tell my wife, if we can just survive, man, if we can just make this happen. See, we were where you are. And I want to share with you a little bit some principles that we learned during that period of time that not only did we hang on to at that time, but we have stabilized them in our life where today God has blessed us beyond favor. And I want you to write them down. I want you to just kind of just burn them into your heart as I talk about them this afternoon. Now, before I get started, I've got to share a couple of things. First of all, I think it's only important that you know how I got here. Wouldn't you all like to know how I really got here? Say, uh-huh. You don't have to pick it up. I spoke to, let's see, Stephen, what was it? It was in Dallas, and I was over here at some big hotel speaking to all the presidents of the Chamber of Commerce for Texas. Stephen came down. And Daniel, he had heard about me speaking and everything. And after it was over, I got to know him. He told me he was in USANA. I went, oh, cool. I'm speaking now for a few companies. I said, give me your card, and we exchanged information. And about 3 weeks went by, and one thing in your business you must learn. If you hadn't, you better, and that's follow up. Most people don't. So I called him and I said, Stephen, this is Bob Goshen, man. I would love to have the opportunity to come down and share with the people in USANA. Man, I'm excited. I think I can give them a lot of information, some help that I know is going to be able to help them really get out there and build their business and really have the resilience that you need in order to win. Listen, Stephen, and here's what he did. He said, look, Bob, I'm on a conference call with Jeremy. I've got to go, and you're not ready yet. Did you catch that? Now, in my book, I talk about being positive. That was a challenge. I went into my wife and said, darling, you're not going to believe this. This dude named Stephen Daniels down here. I told him I wanted to come down and talk to people in USANA. I told him I was on fire. I was excited. I want to give them some information, some motivation, just give them, empower them and equip them and help them. He said, honey, you know what he said? He said, I'm not ready yet. And that didn't sit well with me. She said, settle down. Just settle down. You know, in your book, you talk about always being positive. Yeah, but that's my book. This is serious stuff. She said, no, just give him a break. Call him back. About 3 weeks went by. I called him back. I said, Stephen, Bob Goshen, here I am in Houston, Texas. I want to come down. I want to talk to the people in USANA. I'm so excited about this industry, man. I want to talk to people about why they have to do it, why they've got to step outside of themselves, get outside of that comfort zone. And he said, Bob, I've got to go to a meeting. I've got to go now. You're not ready yet. Woo is right, man. I went into my wife. I said, Kay, I ain't been saved that long, and I'm getting ready to backslide here. This little dude's telling me I'm not ready to speak. I've platformed all over the world on stages of some of the most incredible names, and he's telling me I'm not ready. She said, you probably are not listening because you're a type A, and you need to call him back. I said, okay, I'll do it. About 3 weeks later, I called Stephen back. Stephen, it's Bob Goshen. Don't hang up. Do not hang up. Listen, Stephen, I want to come down to Dallas. I want to talk to your people. I want to visit with them, educate them, give them a little bit of information. Stephen, I'm so excited about coming. I'll tell you what, Stephen, my normal honorarium is $10,000 to come in. You don't have to pay me a nickel. I'll do it. He said, you're ready, Bob. You're ready. That's how I ended up here. That's not a true story. I'm getting ready to share these 5 principles with you. Before I get started, I want to share a few things. Kay and I we've been in the industry since 1975. Now, some of you were not born yet, which I understand, but that's how long we've been in the industry. That's 38 years. We built 2 extremely large organizations. We sold them both. We sold the last one 3 years ago, wasn't it, baby? In April. And we really felt God had a plan for us to go out and just share with people. Instead of just sharing it with a few hundred, we had several 100,000 people in our organization. I was in every country. I was the first individual to ever go into India. in network marketing. I was the first one to go into Russia. We had a nice little organization. We sold it out. I told Kay, I said, instead of serving several 100,000, I'd like to serve millions. And so I wrote this little book, Power of Layered Leadership, which is back in the back of the room. Doesn't say a word about network marketing, not one word. I put it in this magazine called Direct Sales Magazine. And that goes only to CEOs in direct sales. And I said, hey, any CEOs that want it? It's there, grab it, it's yours, no problem. Well, these CEOs, they'll do anything for nothing, right? So all these companies started ordering it. Well, next thing I know, I'm getting involved. I've flown on jets to these different corporations and working with some of these CEOs, just giving you a little background here. Then it just rolled from there where Kay and I said, I'm going to write some material for this industry that works from the EQ side, not the IQ side, because we know, Kay and I know, that we don't build organizations, you build people. If you build the people, you're going to get an organization. And most people have never really figured that out. So we started working on that. And today, I've got some material back there. Hopefully you'll take a look on the way out. It's a whole series. It lines up perfectly with what your leaders are teaching. We're not here to take any skill set away from your leaders. But we get into this information about why, as I was talking to a young man back there, I said, how long have you been in? He said, 4 years. I said, how's your business going? He said, it's going pretty good. Pretty good means it needs to probably be picked up a little bit. I used to say pretty good a lot. But one thing is most people cannot get rid of the baggage. Your problem is never going to be the mechanics. My goodness gracious, I don't even know what your plan is, but I'll guarantee you a nuclear physicist would not have a problem, neither would a 4-year-old probably. Because it's probably drawing a circle, putting a number in it, put some other people underneath, right? And all of a sudden you got a group. Well, if it's so simple, why don't more people do it? They can't leave the past, man. You can't leave your past. There's no way. And in my book, I talk about this. Not going to go into detail. I always say, without confidence, you'll never get a commitment out of your people. The first chapter is how to get rid of your stinking past so you'll start listening to your leaders and get the mechanics and make it work. So grab some of the material. I don't have time to go into it, but companies are now using it, and I'd love for you to use it. Be happy to help you. Okay, here we go. I want you to take your hand and put it on a piece of paper, and I want you to draw. Remember when you were kids, y'all ever do that? Say uh-huh. Okay, so you draw. Remember you used to draw your hand? I want you to do that. Then that's going to be little five fingers, probably 4 fingers and a thumb. And when I hit a point, I want you to write in there what that point is. Now, the reason I say that, if you don't record it, then I'm nothing more than entertainment. And I don't want to be entertainment. See, whenever your leaders are speaking to you, Kay will tell you since 1975, I've got thousands of documents when people that had built this business was teaching me. If you don't record it, it never becomes your information. It remains the information of the person on the platform. So little things like that you remember. It's a little skill set that you're going to get excited about. Now, there's not going to be a test. Isn't that exciting? But I'd ought to tell you about a test. Got to tell you this quick test. This couple, they had this son, and they didn't know what they was going to do with him. He was 25 years of age. He's still living at home. Happens a lot. And they're trying to figure out, what do we do with this kid? Where's he going to do? Where's he going to go? What's he going to do? We don't know what he's going to be when he grows up. He won't leave the house. And the husband said, hey, I got an idea. We got this closet. Let's go hide in the closet. And then what we're going to do, I'm going to have a little table here when he comes home tonight. And on the table, I'm going to have a $100 bill. I'm going to have a Bible. And I'm going to have a fifth of whiskey. And we're going to see which one he goes for. So the mom and the dad, they stay in the closet and they're watching. Here comes a kid walking in. And he walks in and he picks up that $100 bill and he goes, sticks it in his pocket. Not a bad deal. Walks over to the Bible, picks it up and looks at it, flips through it, puts it under his arm. Walks over and takes that fifth of whiskey and just boom, 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 shuts down some of it, puts a lid on it, and he goes upstairs. Father comes running out and says, oh my gosh, it's worse than what I thought. The doggone kid's going to be a politician. Anyway, here we go. Vince Lombardi said this. Get ready now because we're going to cook. We're going to talk about some things. We're going to talk about some things that happened to Kay and I and some things on how you're going to recover in this industry because I want you to win. The first part of our life, it was all about me. The second part was how much wealth could I create. The last part of our life, we're going to equip as many doggone people as we can through this industry to let you know you're in the best industry in the world. Don't you ever forget that, and don't ever lower your head, and you go out and you get excited about what you got your hands on. Don't listen to your next door neighbor. He's broke anyway. So, wow! That wasn't even in the script. All right, here we go. Vince Lombardi. He came in and he took over a little team called the Green Bay Packers. Some of you don't know anything about football. It was a pretty bad football team till he came in. So he came in, and here come the press, shooting all the pictures. Said, Mr. Lombardi, Mr. Lombardi, Mr. Lombardi, what are you going to do to change the Green Bay Packers? They suck. What are you going to do? Are you going to change the offense? Are you going to change the defense? Or are you going to change the management? What are you going to do, Mr. Lombardi? What is it that you're going to do? I mean, how are you going to turn this football team around? How are we going to turn it around? It says that Vince Lombardi leaned back in his chair and he looked up in the lights of all the cameras and he says, no, I'm not going to change the offense. I'm not going to change the defense. We're not going to change the plays. He said, we're going to catch the football better. We're going to block better. We're going to tackle better. Write this down. We're going to become brilliant on the basics. Brilliant on the basics. There's two basics in this industry. It's called recruit and retain. Recruit and retain. That's just two of the basics. Two major basics. What some people do, they get away from the basics and they start going over into areas that they don't need to be. I used to tell my organization, don't talk to me, don't come and visit with me about how you're working the business. To me, the definition of working in a business is how many presentations did you do last month? And if you're not equipped to do it, let me help equip you. Does that make sense? Presentations is your only survival in this industry. It's the only way you're going to survive. Oh, Bob, I don't know if I'm equipped. Get equipped. This is not hard. This is not hard. You want to know what's hard? Get in your car and suck a tailpipe every day going to work. And a commute, right? That's hard. Hard is going in and having a boss tell you, this is what time you come. This is what time you get your break to go pee-pee, because after all, you're only 40. I mean, this is the time you get to go to lunch. That's hard. It's not hard to go show somebody the presentation. Well, Bob, what if they tell me no? Well, let me tell you about no. I was listening to Brian up here. We got in this business. I was so fired up, man. You know why? We were at the bottom of the rope. And I'm thinking, I got to make this work. It's over. I got babies. I got to get going. Kay would tell you, I was out showing a plant on New Year's Eve. She said, why are you doing this? I said, they're at home. I know they're at home on New Year's Eve. I mean, I'd attack. And I attacked today. But you've got to get yourself in that position where you're sharing. I took it to my mother. You know what she said? Well, you went to college, you played football, why don't you just get a real job? Mom, I took it to my sister. She thought I was brain dead. Then I took it to my closest friend. How many of you got a closest friend? Say, uh-huh. Now, I hope you have a friend like my friend. His name was Barry. Write it down, B-A-R-R-Y. I mean, Barry and I, we'd get together. We'd play golf 3 days a week. We were in this little country club. We were both broke, but we looked cool. We looked smooth, right? And I went over to Barry, and Barry used to talk to me all the time about, Bob, we need to do this, need to do this. And I sat down, I started talking to Barry. I said, Barry, you got to look at this opportunity. And I showed him my network marketing opportunity. Very tough. You get in a business, consume, use, or market $100 a month, put 30 people in, you make $1,000. That is a tough presentation, right? You know what he did? He started laughing. Not just laughing. Have you ever had anybody go to, you know what he told? Kay was sitting there. You know what he said? I can't believe you're so stupid to be in that thing. This is my closest friend. He laughed through the living room. He laughed through the bedroom. He came back and he thought this was the funniest thing he'd ever seen. You know what Barry told me? If it ever works for you, call me. Has anybody ever told you that? Write their phone number down. I started calling Barry. We called him from Maui, Hawaii. We called him from Stockholm. So we started calling him from around the world. Kept saying, Barry, you told us to call when he was working. Dude, it's working. Get excited about berries. Don't run from them. Man, you realize you're here because, how many of you notice you're different? Say, uh-huh. Whew, isn't it excited to come together with people that think the same way? Man, I mean, it sucks out there in the real world. My son one time, we started just cranking. And my boy came to me and he said, Mom, Dad, you just don't live in the real world. And we looked at him and said, that's right, son, we tried it and it is not fun. We do not like the real world. His name was Larry Don Johnson. Here's number 2. Larry Don Johnson. Boy, he was so excited. He'd win 9 out of 10 races. 9 out of 10 races. He's a stock car racer, right? Man, he'd go out he was down outside of Charlotte, North Carolina. Man, he was cranked up. He was fired up. He kept driving this car around. Whoo, he was fired up. Winning every time. ESPN heard about him. ESPN said, we're going to go down and do a story on Larry. So they went down to Larry, and old Larry's laying back, he's just a country boy, spitting, no whittling there. ESPN came up and said, I can't believe this. I'm sure you're going to move up to NASCAR. I mean, no one wins 90% of their races. Here you are in this little dirt track. You're going to tear this thing up. Man, what's your secret? What is your secret, Larry? And Larry leaned back and he looked at the computer and he went, I ain't got no brakes. I either win or I crash. Number 2, control. Know what you can control and know what you can't control. You realize the majority of the people, I'll go into some of these CEOs, some of these companies, and I said, let's just kind of change your calendar here a little bit. Know what you can control. How many of you notice there's people a little brain dead and worsting right now? Say, uh-huh. Uh-huh. I'm not talking political, Republican, Democrat. They're all a little bit brain dead. You know how I could change? If I took everybody in this room and put you all up in Congress, we'd change this country probably in about 12 weeks. I mean, that's about the way it is, right? But I can't control that. I can't control my stinking negative brother-in-law that doesn't get it yet. I can't control that. I can't control that my mom says, oh, I can't believe you're in that. I can't control that. Here's some 3 things you can control. 1, you can control your attitude. Now, it's tough when somebody says you ain't ready yet, like Stephen. But we can control our attitude. We can either be positive, we can be negative. It's better to be positive because what it does, it opens up all the dopamine in your brain. When it opens up the dopamine, man, all of your energy levels come up. All of your creative thinking comes up. Your productivity comes up. They say 19% of doctors that are positive have a better chance of doing the diagnosis and hitting it than those that are negative. I mean, come on, man, get positive. In my book, I talk about the definition. You're going to enjoy that book. It's called The Power of Layered Leadership. And my definition is the positive, progressive, ethical influence on others. So you can control your attitude. Number 2, you can control your response to how stinking people think. You can control that. Kay and I never have gotten upset. We'll go in, we'd show the program. You know, if somebody told me no, they just didn't get it. I wasn't mad. I wasn't angry. I just had to get to somebody else. But, you know, here's my belief. I've got to find people that's going to feed my dream, man. If you want to be a dream sucker, you're not going to work real well with me. And they're not going to work real well with you. But you guys are here because we're all dream makers, not dream takers. We actually believe that we can take something as crazy as this opportunity and become financially free. You know why we're crazy enough to believe it? Because you got leaders back here that's done it. In Vietnam, they used to make a statement, if you're going through a minefield, follow someone. You come back taller. Follow them. And the last thing you can control is your work ethic. Well, my sponsor didn't call me this week. I didn't care if my sponsor ever called me. I love my sponsor. But Kay and I, we didn't get in this business to impress our sponsor. We wanted to impress our banker. You got to start thinking another way. Man, I want you to outperform you. Don't outperform your neighbor. Get in the mirror and outperform yourself. I think it was Walt Disney. Here's number 3. Walt Disney. Walt Disney was kind of funny. He didn't make it, Disney World. He was in Disneyland. He created that. Then he started working on Disney World. And the story goes something like this. He had died. Disney World was opening. There were 2 senior vice presidents on the stage at Disney World. The one walked up to the other one. They were having a big ribbon cutting. And the one executive turned to the other one and said, "Boy, I sure wish old Walt was here to see this." And the other executive said, "Walt did see it or we wouldn't be here." Write it down. Your life has to follow your vision. Man, I don't know all of you, but if I could get inside your belly, I'd say quit thinking the way you're thinking. Quit listening to some of the things you're listening to. Have a vision. Know where you're going. Well, Bob, I don't think I'm capable. I didn't tell you and ask you if you were capable. Kay and I used to get up, man, we were so broke, we had to go outside to change our mind. I mean, that's broke. And I'd get in the shower, my wife would tell you, I'd get up in the morning, I was in this doggone thing called Amway, man. We're talking a box of soap, dude. We're not talking about anything like you have. And I'd get in the shower, man, I'd be in there and I'd be scrubbing up. I'd say, I'm the fastest growing distributor in the world of Amway. Nobody is getting into business like other people are getting in my business. I'm tearing this thing wide open. And I'd go out and get 4 more no's. And I get back in the shower and I kept talking to myself. Isn't that crazy? People thought I was absolutely nuts, especially my kids. Daddy, when are you... Just hush, get out of here. Your life has to follow your vision. This is not rocket science. Where do you see yourself? Have you drawn out the organization? Have you drawn out the organization that you want to see, that will give you the income that you must have? My little darling back there, write this down. This is a side note. Write down the word faith. Here's her definition of faith. Believing something is so when it's not so, so it can be so. Believing something is so when it's not so, so it can be so. You got to have that faith. I sat on a committee with a guy named Bill Marriott Jr. He started a hotel chain. I think it made it. And Kay and I were on a private yacht up in, where was it? Washington, right, babe? And he was on the back of the boat there, and I went out, and I'm amazed. I mean, I love. Matter of fact, do we have Bill's book, Marriott book? We're going to give that one away. I mean, by the way, I didn't bring enough material. You got that? So if you're interested, get it. But Bill, he wrote this book called Spirit to Serve. Not spirit to take, spirit to serve. We're on the back of the fantail of this yacht. And I'm talking to him. I said, Mr. Marriott, I got to know, how in the world do you find the general managers that you find? I mean, they're the most exciting leaders that I've ever met. I can be in Budapest, Hungary. I can be in Moscow. I can be in Bombay, India. I can be anywhere in the world. And these hotel managers are unbelievable. How many of you ever noticed that? Say, uh-huh. It runs like a machine, doesn't it? And so I'm waiting for him to tell me, what's the secret of leadership, see? How do you get these leaders like these general managers? I'm saying, did you steal them from Hyatt? No, I didn't do that, Bob. Okay, did you go to Georgetown? How did you find these leaders? He said, I have this little secret. It's in his book. He said, it works like this. I take my general manager and I go to the heart of the house. The heart of the house is where everything's happening. And I walk with my general manager and I watch my people on how they respond to my GM. If they walk up to the GM and their lights are on and they're excited, I've got a good GM. If all of a sudden these guys walk up and they don't even look at the GM, I've got a bad GM. Point number 4. This business is built on nothing more than relationships. Relationships. His general managers know how to create a relationship. Let me explain this to you. I used to have people in our organization, well, Bob, you realize all the competition out there? My gosh, there's all these network marketing companies. People are not getting in network marketing companies. They're getting involved with people. They're connecting with relationships. And my friend, in my material, I talk about how to create a relationship with people. I just got through speaking to Abbott Pharmaceutical. Now, if you don't have a clue on Abbott, they do 3 times the volume as all network marketing combined. They do $40 billion a year, one little company. And I was talking to their CEOs about how to create relationships with people. Because those of us today that's going to win have to create a relationship. Do you agree with that? Say, uh-huh. This is not hard, but there's some things you have to learn. See, there is no competition to the individual who knows who he is or who she is and where they're going. I'll get in a living room and I'm going to create a relationship. You know how I'm going to create a relationship? I want to talk more about you than me. Relationships. Here's number 5. Whew, got 19 minutes left. Let's start all over. Lighten up. Just doggone lighten up. Have some fun. Now, I don't think that's going to be a problem with this group. I was back there in the corner before I came here. Woo! They don't have any problem having fun, huh? Lighten up, man. Life isn't worth a stroke or a heart attack. This is the most fun you're ever going to have in your life. Well, Bob, you can't believe me. I worked so hard this month and I didn't qualify. You got another month. Oh, what if I don't do? You got another month. You know, Kay and I can't tell you the number of times we didn't qualify. I got so mad one time I jumped in the swimming pool and tried to drown myself. This one leg would not come to the top. I don't know if you ever had that challenge, but oh yeah, I'm going to do it this month. They lie. They just lie. Believe in everyone, depend on no one. That's a good one. Write that down. But lighten up. Have some fun. Kay, bless her heart, we've been together now 50 years. I know I don't look it. But we've been together 50 years. She was 15 and I was 17 when we met. I'm not stupid. You saw Jeremy's fiance. Woo! I put my hand in front of her to see if she's blind. I said, man, I told Jeremy, I said, Jeremy, we're the same, we're cut out of the same dude. We both outkicked our coverage, you know. But have fun. Enjoy the journey. While you're here, man, bond. You don't look around about what's not happening. I want to crawl in your soul. What if no one knew a thing about network marketing? How would that change your attack on this business? Woo! See, we stop our progress by thinking what other people are going to say or do. Man, they just want to meet a winner like you guys that have life. Have fun. I went into a McDonald's the other day. Don't do that too often because that's not real healthy. But I snuck in there. Kay wasn't with me. And I love you. And this little 16-year-old comes walking up, and she says, I told her I wanted an Egg McMuffin and a cup of coffee. I know that's not sacred here. But I said, I want an Egg McMuffin. She said, well, would you like to have that, eat that here, or take it with you? I said, hopefully both. This side is a lot smarter than this side. She looked like a deer in headlights. She didn't know what I was talking about. I had a group, we had a group down in Memphis, Tennessee one time. Honey, Kay remembers this. There was this beautiful hotel, kind of like you guys. We'd go down there and do a big event. And have you all ever gone to dinner and looked at somebody and a husband and wife and they don't talk to each other? How many of you say uh-huh? They're just baptized in pickle juice, you know. Just, I mean, you're thinking, man, at least say hi to her. I mean, it's your wife, right? And so I'm sitting here with a group of leaders like your leaders back there, and here's what I told them. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll bet you $100 I can get that dude laughing within the first 15 seconds I go over there. And man, that money started hitting the table. This is a true story. I go over and I get a cucumber, you know, a big cucumber. And I took a napkin and put around it. And I put WKYK. And he was sitting over there with his wife, just all mentally constipated, you know. And I walked over with this cucumber. I put it right under his mouth. I said, excuse me, my name is Bob Goshen with WKYK, Memphis, Tennessee. How are you enjoying your stay here today? I'm holding a cucumber. Kay will tell you, this is true. This guy looks at this cucumber. He looks at me. He looks back down at the cucumber. And he says, well, you know, we're really enjoying... He started talking in the doggone cucumber. And they say there's no drug problem. This guy was gone. Have fun. Have fun. Okay, for all these years, you know what her 3 words are? He's just kidding. He's just kidding. He's just kidding. I've done presentations in houses. Kay knows when I've had it. I'm a type A, probably can't tell. But a type A, if you don't know if you're a type A, we're the ones that stand by the elevator. If the light's on, we keep pushing the button knowing it's going to come faster. I'm doing a presentation. Have you ever been doing a presentation for someone you know they're dead? You just know they're dead. Say uh-huh. I mean, you're doing it, you know, I mean, you're smoking, man. I mean, you got everything cooking. You're doing this presentation there. Everything you say, they object to. Well, I'll tell you what I know. And he's going through all this. I told Kay's seen me do it more than once. I say, honey, I got to go to the bathroom. And I don't come back. She's left there with that person. And she knows when that happens. I don't dislike anyone. God's only given me so much time. And I'm not going to waste it on someone that's just, well, I don't know. If I love you. I hope your mother loves you. I had a dude one time. I said, man, all you got to do is have 6 people and you become financially free in this business. This was Amway. All you got to do is find 6. You can be financially free. Well, I don't know if I have 6 friends. Kay was sitting there. I said, dude, that's another reason you want to get in my business. I'm going to help you find 6 because on that last day, you got to have 6 to carry the casket, man. I mean, it'd be a little optional. Only got 3 friends, you know. Don't listen to their BS. That's boy stuff. Just love them, man. Get on down the road. Last thing, I want to share this with you. Jeremy's going to be so excited. I got 14 minutes. In my book, the thesis is when you get the person right, the business works. Doesn't have anything to do with a marketing plan. Out of 38 years, do you realize how many stupid marketing plans I've seen where I've seen multimillionaires come out of it? Well, the product's got to be right. Yeah, it's good to have a product, but I got to tell you, there's been some people who make great wealth without a product. Now, guess what you have? You got both of those already, right? You got a great product, you got a great marketing plan. But it's about you. You know what our challenge is? We got challenges. We got challenges at home. Some of us sitting here, we're challenged with maybe drugs, alcohol. Some of us have got financial challenges. Some of us got a mother-in-law that we're going, oh. I mean, we got these challenges. And so we come into this business, and you know what we do? We say, hey, man, here's all you got to do, A, B, C, D, E, and we expect you guys just to go out and do it. Until you drop the baggage, man, you're never going to move forward. I went in a company the other day. It was their call center for a network marketing company. I said, I'll only come in and work with you if I can rework all your call center. These guys don't have the right attitude. I want to teach them how to have a crazy good attitude with distributors. Because a company that's not distributor friendly isn't going to be around in this industry any longer. Crazy good. But we have this garbage. I did. We all do. I want you to drop it. It's not going to be overnight. Man, I don't care what your background is. I mean, I was a very successful forklift driver, and I made it. There's not much I haven't done. But you can do this business. It's not hype. Is it easy? No! The business is easy, but humanity is weird. I mean, you sit there and you're going, they look intelligent. I used to carry a little mirror and stick it under their nose to see if there's any breath. Gotta be something in there. But some of you came this weekend, and I'm going to be honest with you. Some of you came, might have even said this. It's going to be my last one. I ain't going to come back to another one of these things. Hopefully I'll come this weekend and I'll get something out of it. I understand that. Hey guys, this is life. You got so much crap going on in your life, stuff going on in your life, that you can't get enough of what these guys and gals are giving you. But see, we're here to groom leaders. We're not here to groom just people moseying around like robots. And your leadership team has the skills to take you where you need to be. Our belief is this industry is the salvation for free enterprise in America. And that's why we're out here preaching like we preach. Man, I believe in this industry. This is so much fun for me today. I hope you're seeing it. I mean, you can't imagine. Can you imagine me going into corporate America and talking? They just sit there, my God, what was it? I have no idea. Do you have a dream? They go, yeah, I can hardly wait to get to the next vacation. I mean, that's their biggest dream, man. So here's what I want to tell you. Some of you have come. Some of you have come and you're not real sure if you're going to do it. You're going to do it. You're going to do it. You don't have any option. You can quit. I kept looking at my wife. I mean, after I got so many no's, I'm thinking, I'm going to quit. And I thought, no, I'm not a quitter. It only takes a few. Get the attitude you want to be the Marine Corps, that you're not going to be Gandhi. Gandhi tried to change the masses. The Marine Corps only looks for 6 good people. I just look for good people. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Let me close with this. His name was Pedorowski. He was a great concert pianist. Matter of fact, he later became Prime Minister of Poland. And the story comes, he comes into New York City, I think it was in the early 1900s, and he was doing a big concert. Beautiful stage, big grand piano. This guy was a brilliant pianist. And his mother brings her little boy. If you ever had a little boy that wouldn't listen to you, you know what I mean? You know, you're trying to jerk him like that. Well, she brings the little boy. She had him in a nice little suit, nice little tie. He looked good because his mother wanted him to play the piano. The little kid didn't really want to play the piano. So finally she comes in this beautiful hall and she walks in and she sits down in her chair, and up on that platform was that beautiful grand piano, big leather bench. And she starts talking to a friend next to her. While she's talking to a friend, her little boy gets up. And the little boy goes up on the stage. And he sits down on this beautiful leather bench and this grand piano. And he starts playing Chopsticks. The people go insane. Whose kid is that? Get that kid off the stage. I can't believe a parent would allow that to happen. I mean, they started getting a little ugly. Pedorowski in the back, he heard all this. He throws on his coat, his tuxedo coat, puts it on, comes out, and he puts his arms around that little boy. And he starts playing a counter melody as the little boy was playing chopsticks. And when he was doing it, here's what he was saying. Keep going. Don't quit. Keep going. Don't stop. Keep playing. Don't stop. If I can give any message to you this evening, don't stop. Don't stop. I need you in America. I need you across the world to tell people that free enterprise is alive. Don't stop. I think everybody needs to have a mission statement. I'm going to leave you with mine. If you don't have one, write one down. And here it is. I live for Christ. I love my wife. I lead my kids and my grandkids. Then I look for those who need to know that life offers more than just a stinking living. Thank you, guys. God bless. Go, cowboy. Appreciate you. Okay. Ow!
Wow, there's some good information there. Did you guys all